Welcome, 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 everyone. Welcome to another edition of Remixing Politics and Culture with me, your host, Pam. I am a public relations and marketing professional who happens to have a passion for social justice, voter advocacy, and culture. And tonight, we are going to be talking about what everyone is talking about, the Epstein emails. Now, there's one email in particular um, between the late Jeffrey Epstein and his brother that poses a question about Trump and a sex act on someone by the name of Bubba. Specifically, the question indicated that Putin may have photos of a said act, but the internet went absolutely crazy over the name Bubba and made an assumption that the email was about former President Clinton and Trump, as which really set off a slew of memes, reels, and amateur thought pieces. There, I brought it up. Brought up the big elephant in the room, but we're not going to focus on innuendo and things like that because the internet has done that well enough. I'm going to bring up some fantastic guests that we're going to really talk about this subject and get into the show. And we hope that you'll participate along with us. Okay, so first up, I have Mary Rarick. Mary is a caffeine fueled super connector. She is a former managing editor and communications consultant who spends her time organizing for Democratic candidates and causes. She serves as the volunteer coordinator for the Multnomah County Democrats and is a producer and host of You Can't Beat Blue. Following the 2025 election, Mary has stepped up her commitment to strengthening her local community. She lives in Portland, Oregon, with her fun loving husband and their tuxedo cat, Paul Newman. Welcome back to the show, Mary.
Thank you so much, Pam. I'm happy to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. And next up, we have maybe a neighbor. Next, we have Gary Carter Green. He is also from Portland, Oregon. He is an Emmy-winning television producer, most recently producing United States of Scandal with Jake Tapper for CNN. His past credits include political and cultural series for Apple Plus, Amazon, and Netflix. His political platform, You Can't Beat Blue, supports Democrats running for office across the country. He is across the country and includes interviews, panel discussions, and personal commentary. He was an active supporter of Pete Buttigieg's 2016 presidential campaign, and his writing on Buttigieg can be found at youcan'tbeatpete.com. Welcome back to the show, Gary. It's been too long.
Thank you, Pam. It's nice to see you. And I can confirm that Mary's husband is indeed fun-loving. He's very fun-loving.
I'm sure he's listening. We're going to say hello to a few people. Hey, David. Hello, Yvette. All right. Okay. Next up, I have Renee Schalk. Renee is a woman who has worn many hats, and she's still wearing many hats, y'all. She's a native New Yorker and has recently relocated back to New York City. She is a mother of 4 adult children, and get this, 7-year-old triplets. Yes. Renee is a graduate of Columbia University, a lifelong Democrat. She's a North Carolina. She's a New York City doula for women of color who are socially, economically disadvantaged. When she was living in Texas, she ran for public office and was on this show. She was a volunteer coordinator for a Texas congressional candidate, and she is now a candidate for a New York City Community Education Council. In her other life, among her many things, Renee was also a CPS social worker dealing with abused children. Welcome back to the show, my friend Renee.
Hey, Pam. Hey, guys. Nice to see everybody, Mary and Gary. Thank you.
And last but certainly not least, I have Reverend Ron White, or Pastor White. I call him my twin.
Right.
We'll explain that later. Reverend Ron White has retired from the auto industry after 46 years of service. He worked in design, engineering, and manufacturing management for General Motors for 34 years, and with Stellantis, which was formerly known as Chrysler, for 10 years. He has celebrated 41 years in the ministry. He is the associate pastor of Christian Tabernacle Church in Southfield, Michigan, and he is the team chaplain of those winning Detroit Pistons and the Motor City Cruise basketball teams. I'm not the least bit biased about any Detroit teams. Welcome back to the show, Ron.
My pleasure, twins. Good to be here again. Thanks for inviting me back. And hello, everybody.
All right. Okay. Oh, look, we got more hellos. Let's see there. Fennell. Hi, Mary. Hi, Gary.
Hi, Fennell.
Hey, great panel, Pam. Let's see. Renee, great to see you. Okay. All right. Okay, guys. So let's get into it. All right. So, Mary, I'm going to start with you, and everyone else will answer the question as well. Oh, no. You know what? I take that back. I have a humorous picture to kind of get us into the groove a little bit, just to, because all of this stuff is kind of, let's see. Let me find it. Okay. All right. Where's oh, here it is. Share. All right. We're only one more email drop away from Trump fleeing the White House in a white Ford Bronco with Caroline Levitt behind the wheel.
Wow.
I thought
Classic.
I thought that would be a good way to start the show.
Woo!
All right, we got some more hellos. Hello, all. Hey, Lee. Good evening, everyone. Go Detroit. Hilarious. Okay, so Mary, let's start with you, and everyone will answer the same question, and we'll just do it round robin. So, Mary, what surprised you most about the Epstein email drop? And it's a two-part question. And how do you feel as an American?
Whew. Where do I start? The first question, what surprised me the most?
Mm-hmm.
For starters, Democrats dropped a couple things and Republicans came back and dumped thousands of pages. I think that was a shock. That's a strange kind of defense. I'm just saying. That's a shock. As an American, I continue to be disappointed, I guess, that it takes a dead white man's emails for people to believe women, right? That's just kind of par for the course. And it's just so disappointing. And I don't know why we keep getting our hopes up that something is going to change, but yeah, it's just disappointing.
Gary, you next.
I want to double down with what Mary just said. Obviously, I'm very. I hate to be the wet blanket for anybody out here thinking the Epstein files is going to be the voice or the end of Donald Trump. I would be pleased to see Donald Trump burn as well, but I feel like we have been here before. You will remember P-tape. You will remember Russian collusion. You will remember conviction. You will remember indictment. You will remember grab them by the you-know-what on the Access Hollywood tape. The goalposts get moved for this guy every single time. I want to point out one thing that I did not hear this directly. I heard this on another broadcast referring to Megyn Kelly, who was already trying to soften the blow by saying, well, even if he did it, it's not 5-year-olds, it's 15-year-olds, as if that's somehow modifies the egregious nature of this behavior. I know that people think that now that we've got 218 votes in the House for this discharge petition, that somehow means that it's all going to come out. But you got to remember, it's got to go through the Senate. You got to have 13 Republican senators cross over to the 47 Democrats. And then it's going to go to whose desk? Donald Trump's desk. He's going to veto it immediately. These records, if they are coming, it is going to be a long, long time. So I want everybody to stay calm, be relaxed, and continue to help the candidates in your local areas fight their way into office, because that's what you can be doing right now, every day.
Mm-hmm. Renee, you're next.
Okay, I agree with everything everyone else has said. My take is that I don't think that the Epstein files are necessarily going to take Donald Trump down. What I think, though, is that it's the beginning of the end for him. And what I mean is that everybody has an expiration date, and everybody's going to catch a toe tag, whether we like it or not. And he's not going to be here forever. More of my concern is what we do with the time that we have right now. So meaning that we need to shore up the Democratic Party to be able to fight against anything else that's coming to us in before we can take back the House and maybe the Senate. And so I look at this as a positive that for now, the Epstein file situation is something that we can bring everybody together with to want to go after this administration, because apparently, blowing up boats in Venezuela waters is not going to do it. Apparently, trying to go after Nigeria and start a war. So, this is it is sort of a distraction, but I think actually is strategic that we use this time in this moment to bring all the people like MTG, who we never thought was gonna, stand up for this. And we bring all these people together so we can form an allegiance and a wall to hold him off until we can actually do something about him. And so, and I will say this too, and I'm going to bring it back to the judicial system. The judicial system is slow moving. Everybody knows that, but it is a barrier. It is a stop gauge to allow us to build our strength, build our army, build our we the people movements and stuff so that we can stop him. It's just a stopgap. And it's the same thing with the Epstein file. So I don't expect it to solve everything. He is never going to get tried for any of this, but it is a stopgap to give us some time that we can get our forces up, build our strength, and we can go and make sure we take back this government, that our people power. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Pastor Ron?
Well, I'll first of all say that nothing out of the Trump White House surprises me or shocks me. And beside all of the innuendo around the Epstein emails, just listening to facts, right? Facts that actually have come out of either witnesses' mouths or either Donald Trump's mouth. It's very discouraging. I'm an American. You all are Americans. All of us want the best for our country.
Yes.
Because for those of you who have children and grandchildren, I have 10 grandchildren, 3 sons, 2 daughter-in-laws. I want the best for them. Tomorrow could be my last day. I would hate to take my last breath knowing what is going on in this country reeks of immorality in the highest office, right? What about the victims? The victims, the people that were taken advantage of sexually, right? That should really be our focus. How are they going to ever be restored? Because this whole thing about being a pedophile, you ruin people's lives, and it doesn't stop with one generation, right? It transfers from generation to generation. And so I think that's one of the things that we need to take a look at. And then the disappointment in terms of a person potentially being involved at the highest office in the land, and other people who surround him having involvement.
Mm-hmm.
It's disgusting. It's heartbreaking. And being the chaplain for the Pistons, I preached a message to them on this past Wednesday before the game, and the title of the message was "Salvation is free, but being a disciple is very expensive."
Mm.
Jesus says in Luke 9:23, "If any man come after me, he must first deny himself, take up his cross daily, and follow." And so it's just not a matter, if we're going to be a Christian nation, it's not a matter of just being affiliated with a religion. It's all about how you think, how you live, and what you speak about. So um, those are my opening comments. And I hope that, again, that this thing turns around in a hurry. We're spending far too much time. We have a lot of issues on the table that need to be addressed, like healthcare,
Mm-hmm.
the affordability of just living from day to day, right?
Mm-hmm.
But of course, if these people are convicted, I say put them all in prison.
Mm-hmm. Which leads a second follow-up question for you from Lee about your thoughts about the role that the chaplains are supposed to be playing in the House and the Senate. I
Well,
mean, I forgot they had chaplains. They don't act like they got chaplains.
I know, I wonder, how significant their roles are, because every time we turn around, we have another politician involved in immorality. So how much power, how much authority and influence do they actually have in terms of their relationship with our politicians? With our basketball players, I'm involved with them. I'm preaching to them before every game. I want to make sure that they don't make stupid mistakes. They're young men with a lot of money, um, and they have a lot of bloodsuckers pulling at them. And so, in my role, I'm there to say, "Hey, there's a way that you should be living that won't end up being embarrassing and shameful," right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would think that the chaplains that are in the Capitol would be saying the same thing to our politicians.
May I add to that?
Yeah,
Excuse me, Pastor. Did I interrupt you? Let me just say, in referring to the chaplains in the House and the Senate and what they should be doing, the question that I want to ask is, what are the actual House and Senate doing? Are they addressing the needs of the people? Are they doing their jobs? Look, we've got all of these Democrats that crossed over to end the shutdown. However you feel about that,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not particularly pleased about it. You've got John Fetterman that is disappointing a lot of Democrats, and the Republicans have all but folded. They are in line behind Donald Trump. Nobody up there is doing what they should be doing.
Mm-hmm. Nobody, no one. Mary, how do you feel about this whole thing? Because I'm really beginning to feel that we're losing the narrative about what Epstein was about because we've gotten so focused on all of these salacious details and memes and what have you. And maybe you want to share some of your experiences with what these women are facing as they were young.
Well, I'm an incest survivor. My stepfather, a veteran, a pastor, just carried on for about 6 years. And, one thing, if I talk about the basic, what it means to be that person. And, you think when you get out of that situation, it's all going to go away. In the moment, that's what you think. It's not the case, right? And what the pastor said about the generational trauma is real. And thousands of women were affected. We don't even know. Probably also young men and
Yes.
boys,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's probably what they really trying to cover up, is what I'm suspecting, because it's okay in our society to harm women, but there's a whole different thing there. So there's that piece. There's also this piece, and this I bring also from my own personal experience. My stepfather was also, he had has above top secret clearance in the military. all the while this was going on.
Oh, wow.
When my mom learned about what had happened, because it was in the past by then, she actually asked him to go and she demanded that he take it to the military and tell them, because it's a huge risk, right? That's a security risk. When you consider all of these people, and we don't even know who everybody is,
Mm-hmm.
the blackmail potential, the
Yeah.
security risk to the United States of America
Mm-hmm.
is unfathomable. The money that's being sent to these countries, the attacks on, the threats of war, all of that,
Mm-hmm.
you can't help but wonder, what if there's something related there. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I forgot about that. And that's the other thing that in all of the things that have happened, and I'm reaching back now to think of something that I read, that Ken Starr, who remembers Ken Starr? Who's old enough to remember Ken Starr, who prosecuted Bill Clinton for the blow job in the White House with Monica Lewinsky? Remember that? He got impeached over that. And so Ken Starr helped Trump for, I can't even remember which case that was. I think that was for the January 6th things. It's a shame that man has had so many prosecutions. I can't even remember which one it is. But anyway, Ken Starr, Brett Kavanaugh, and all of are connected, because Brett Kavanaugh was Ken Starr's like junior lawyer type of thingy while he was a judge, and he was very, very supportive of Brett Kavanaugh. Do you know that Epstein was giving hints, not more than hints, talking points to Steve Bannon about how to discredit Christine Blasey Ford, her allegations towards Brett Kavanaugh, and said, "Oh, when you take mental health drugs, your memory goes off and stuff." This guy had such influence on such high levels, and yet Ken Starr was cool with him too. I mean, he knew Epstein. I'm trying to think. I think Ken Starr was involved in some of that. Rigmarole.
Monica Lewinsky. He was part of
Right, but there was
but he's also part of Epstein
right.
situation.
That's what I'm saying. He got involved in that. I can't listen. I've read so much stuff, but it was so many nuances of things, and I'm like, all of these guys.
Yeah.
It didn't matter as long they didn't care about how people's lives were ruined or anything to that nature. It did not matter. It did not matter. Period.
Yeah, that's one of the most hypnotic powers of power. Somebody said to me, "Well, Donald Trump, is he really involved in pedophilia? I mean, he's such a germaphobe. He doesn't like being involved in any of that kind of stuff." And I said, "Look, it isn't a question of whether or not it's something that he wants to do. For many people, mostly men, it's a question of, do I have enough power to get away with doing this? And if so, I will go ahead and do it." It is a question of exerting power for themselves, for their own egos. And that's what gets these people involved in so many stupid, illegal, immoral activities that anybody here on the panel wouldn't think twice about staying away from. But it's that allure of power and that allure of, I am above everybody else and watch me get away with everything I want to get away with. And that is where I think where Trump and Epstein are connected. That is where there could be a lot of culpability on Donald Trump in this, simply because he could do it.
All right. Okay. Fennell says, immorality, racism, cruelty will take time to restore, but it will be the people who will decide. We must work hard to make these injustices public. We assume people know. Shine a light brightly. Well, yeah.
I want to chime in as a CPS caseworker in Texas. I went through a lot of training, and part of the training that I went through for child abuse, and whether it was emotional, mental, sexual, physical, or whatever, one of the things that I was surprised at, which I had learned in that position, was that many people think that if a child makes an outcry about sexual abuse, that you should be able to take them to the doctor and you can prove it right away. That's not the case. Most of the time, you're not going to find physical evidence of children being sexually abused because it depends on the type of abuse. It depends on the age of the child. If you're talking about young children, babies and stuff like that, and if you're talking about, and forgive me for being more graphic, penal penetration and things like that, you might find some damage and you might find abuse. But typically what abusers do is they groom children to not show their abuse in ways that doctors can find it, but it's still sexual abuse or emotional or whatever, physical abuse. The same thing with abused women. People who abuse women tend to put marks on them where it can't be seen and viewed by the regular public so that they could discern. And then if women are not telling, but this is the other thing, children are never believed. Well, I won't say never. I say children most times are not believed because they think that if you don't have physical evidence, that somehow they weren't sexually abused or mentally, emotionally, whatever. But the thing is that it is up to the adults around them to be their advocates and protect them and to listen to children. And I'm not saying every case that is an outcry is absolutely a case of that particular abuse. But this is the one thing that I do know about young children is if they're going to lie about abuse, it's never going to be a sexual abuse because they don't have the tools and the wherewithal to understand sexual abuse. It'll be things like, well, I didn't take that cookie. I didn't take that candy. They'll lie by simple stuff, day-to-day stuff that, most children are trying to cover. They don't want to be punished or they want to get cookies again or whatever. But sexual abuse is a different kind of outcry. And we have to take it seriously as caseworkers when children say, someone did this to me. And, or if they come to you, regardless of whether you are, are supposed to report this stuff, but you should listen to them, listen, really listen. And if you think that that child, there's no way they have the vocabulary or would say something about these kinds of things because they're not sexually active at that point, then you have to listen to them. And that's the piece that's missing from this whole story of Epstein is that these people, survivors, were children at the time. I don't care if you were 15, 14, 13, 11, 12, 5, whatever. They were children. They didn't have the mental capacity to give the okay for somebody to sexually use their body. And so, and we're missing that piece. And I'm sad for that because there were a lot of adults around them. They reported it. Some of them reported it to authority, and they weren't listened to.
Right.
But I'm hoping that this dialogue will open up some discussion that you should listen to children. You should listen when they say things like that and to do your due diligence to get them treatment or go figure out what is going on. But a lot of people are still with this misconception that if there is no physical proof, then it didn't happen. And that's not true.
Right. We're going to switch the topic just a little bit to from the actual rapes and sexual abuse situation to some of the people who are in this circle of Jeffrey Epstein. And to be fair, I've got to show you all something that came across from the Washington Post that the Congresswoman and delegate to the Virgin Islands, Stacey Plaskett, was texting with Jeffrey Epstein during Michael Cohen's, remember Michael Cohen? He was Trump's fixer during his interrogation that he had on with Congress. And I thought that was the craziest thing. And then I started doing all kinds of mental gymnastics about, well, why would she be taking questions from Epstein advice from him. Although Epstein, his islands that he owned are in the Virgin Islands, I thought, well, maybe, her being a representative of the Virgin Islands, I don't know. Maybe that's the connection. But I'm going to show you all the article from the Washington Post. Here it is. Okay. And you will remember her. Epstein texted the House Democrat during Cohen hearing, documents show. And this was in the 2019 congressional hearing. And you may remember her because she was, you remember her? That's not a real good picture of her, but this just came out. And so this was occurring in 2019, and he had already been convicted. We knew who he was. We might not have known all what he was, but we knew that was about the time that he got that sweetheart deal with in Florida, and he was able to come and go as he pleased in jail. For the most part, he didn't do anything. He didn't. So he had he had such a cushy deal.
And who was the attorney general in Florida then?
Oh, Pam Bondi.
Oh, go figure.
Yeah, Pam Bondi. Yeah, this is Plaskett. In the text, Epstein appeared to be watching the February 2019 hearing in real time, and at one point informed Plaskett, whose name is redacted from the documents, that Cohen had brought up former Trump executive assistant Rona Graff in his testimony. At the time, Cohen was testifying before the House Oversight Committee against his former boss, alleging that Trump was racist, manipulated financial records, and directed hush money payments to cover up his extramarital affairs. Allegations Trump denied, of course. The president said on social media that Cohen was lying before testimony began. Cohen brought up Rona, keeper of the secrets, Epstein texted, misspelling Graff's first name. Rona, Plaskett responded. Quick, I'm up next. Is that an acronym? She asked, suggesting she questioned Cohen soon. That's his assistant. The copies of the text messages were included in a trove of thousands of pages of documents containing Epstein's emails and other communications released Wednesday by the House Oversight Committee. The messages show Epstein was invested in what Cohen was sharing about Trump, the financier's former friend. During his testimony, Trump has provided different accounts, of course, about why he ended his decades-long relationship with Epstein and has tried to distance himself from the deceased sex offender, but he has previously denied knowing about Epstein's abuse. And, of course, Trump said, I had no idea. I haven't spoken to him in many, many years. He told reporters in July of 2019. Though the name of Epstein's texting partner is redacted in the documents, timestamps on the text messages match up with the video from the hearing, as well as messages' contents indicated that Epstein was texting with Plaskett, who represents the U.S. Virgin Islands and its non-voting delegate in the House of Representatives. And so when she was reached by phone Thursday, she declined to answer questions about the text messages, and she had all the inquiries go to her congressional staff. And they said that they were not in a position to confirm or not whether the congresswoman was texting with Epstein. But after the story was published Friday evening, Plaskett's office issued a statement. During the hearing, Congresswoman Plaskett received texts from staff, constituents. I guess she would consider him a constituent since he lived in the Virgin Islands. You think?
When was the last time that your representative texted you? It just hasn't happened. I mean, I knew mine personally. They still haven't texted me. So I'm just saying.
Same.
And the public at large offering advice, support, and in some cases, partisan vitriol, including from Epstein, the statement read. As a former prosecutor, she welcomes information that helps her get at the truth and took on the GOP that was trying to bury the truth. The Congresswoman has previously made clear her long record combating sexual assault and human trafficking, her disgust over Epstein's deviant behavior, and her support for his victims. And the messages show that she texted Epstein before the hearing, starting that day at 7:55 a.m. Eastern Time, to tell him he'll talk about his grades. Epstein replied a minute later, "What privilege stands behind non-release of that might be a typo, non-release of college transcripts." Oh, and he told her she had on a great outfit at 10:02. "You look great." "Thanks," she replied. He asked her, was she chewing? "Not anymore," she replied. "Chewing interior of my mouth, bad habit from middle school." This is really, I don't know what to think. I mean, I don't know.
Well, you have to. This is all pointing to the power that Jeffrey Epstein had. I mean, if you're a politician and somebody says, "Hey, come meet this guy across the room. He's got a ton of money." You're only thinking, "Put some money into my campaign." That's who this person is. You may or may not know anything else about the guy. That's why there are so many pictures of politicians on both sides of the aisle with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell. He's
But at
running in all of these
2019, but at
Pardon?
2019, it was a done. We knew who he was by 2019.
Well, I'm just speaking to when you ever met this guy. I mean, his tentacles go back much further than 2019. That is why everybody apparently is paranoid about these files being released. Because who knows what other names besides Donald Trump are going to be in there? And who is this Bubba? I have heard other suggestions on who that Bubba might be. There is a Bubba that people seem to think might be Bill Clinton. There have been put out there other suggestions of who that might be. But this man, if you're doing what he's doing, you're going to want to have as much power as close to you as possible and people that are going to be able to protect you when the shit comes down. And I have to assume that Epstein, he's got to be blackmailing a lot of these people, right? I mean, you do not traffic underage girls for rich men just for the heck of it. You're going to expect things in return. And if that person isn't willing to give them to you, you're going to make sure you have a few items in your pocket to provoke them to give you what you want. Prince Andrew will probably corroborate it if you get him on the show.
Don't call him Prince anymore. He lost that.
Good old Andrew.
He's the royal, formerly known as Prince.
He is formerly known as, let's not even mention the guy anymore. But pictures with him. I mean, Epstein, nobody, the general public didn't know who this guy was back then, but all of these circles knew who he was, and a lot of them probably knew what he was doing and were just looking the other way. It's sad to say, Democrats, Republicans, independents, I'm sure there are people who are culpable on all sides, who knew something, who could have said something and did not say something. It's a fundamental flaw in our government system when power and money rule over everything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I agree with you, Pam, that this was really an unforced error on her part.
Yeah.
And he should have known. And it's just suspicious why she did this. I mean, also, she has staff. Staff could provide her with any information that she needed. She did not need to get this from him. She could have seen his name and number and hit block. But, for whatever reason, and Gary's probably right about money and who knows.
Yeah, it's just awful. And like Michael says, Ken Starr helped Epstein not get charged before. I was trying to remember which case it was or whatever. I've read so much stuff, Michael. It's just so, I mean, it's like a big snowball from every end of the earth. It's so much stuff.
And that's what Trump is counting on. That's what Trump is counting on. The average American voter is not going to be able to make sense, and they'll be able to blow enough holes into this picture that there will be reasonable doubt.
Right. Zach, we talked about that at the top of the show, that really that particular email, it had people made assumptions of who Bubba is, and no journalism outfit that I'm that I feel is very reputable. Nobody has confirmed or denied any of that. So I didn't, I just think that that's something that the internet does. It runs away with something salacious, and it really took it. If you think about it, that one salacious thing took everybody's mind off of the real deal about those victims. It did. It just wiped it all away. Yeah.
The best thing that can happen, as I said, I want to see Trump burn too. But if the Epstein files, it's got to get through the Senate, it's going to go to his desk, he's going to veto it. We're going to need 2/3 to overturn, whatever. But if he has to direct all of his energy to preventing people from believing the Epstein files, that's less time that he can spend on denying food benefits to working Americans in this country who can't make it over the poverty line. That's less time he can destroy health benefits. That's less time he can do all kinds of damage to this country. So I hope that this thing really does engulf him. So he has to throw every ounce of energy and might against it day after day after day and can't do anything else. Maybe destroy another ballroom, but he can do that. That's fine.
Ugh.
Actually, didn't the Attorney General basically launch an investigation? And because she's launched an investigation, I believe what that means is the files can't be released now.
Yes. And I've been seeing that is the case. What we risk now that she's launched the investigation, unless some real wise legal eagle can get there and make a demand or twist the law or do something to make it get opened again. I don't know.
I think the Trump Justice Department will slow walk this as many ways as they possibly can.
The thing she's not going to be, what's not going to happen with Biden is she can't stop the Epstein estate files from coming through. And there's going to be a lot of things in that the DOJ doesn't have. Now, I'm not a lawyer either, but from my understanding is if Trump happens to sign, I say happens to sign the discharge, for the Epstein release, which I don't think he will. I don't think he cares whether people think he's in it or not. But if he happens to sign it, then I don't think they can stop the DOJ from sharing those files to Congress. Now, they may not, be released to the public. But the other thing is that, everybody is thinking that Donald Trump might be one of the pedophiles, but he actually might be a co-owner of the whole thing. Remember, he did have the teenage pageant. Melania speaks several languages, so she can always go back to the foreign countries and get young girls to come over. Erica Kirk has had lots of ties in Romania with children, and she can bring people over too. So the thing he might be trying to hide is that he actually is best friends with Epstein, and they were running a business together. They were trafficking women too. He was trafficking women too, or girls, and so that might be his thing. It might not be that he participated, because if he actually really is, doing what they said that he did to Bubba, which I think is a possibility, because he loves that YMCA song, and he grew up in New York City. He know what YMCA means, so he might be closeted. And he really isn't into children like that, but he doesn't mind making some money off of trafficking girls and women. So I'm just going to say, we all are focused on that he might be a pedophile, but I haven't heard anybody come out and say he actually did anything.
Well, we do.
He could be a co-conspirator.
Yeah. Well, I got some stuff here on that. Let's see. Let me share. I have, let me find.
Do you have the cases from the 90s that were settled?
Yeah, I'm trying to find.
But I think you may have a point about him not being, that Epstein may not be the top dog there, because, in the middle of those Epstein files, Epstein wrote, "I need my marching orders." So who's he taking orders from?
Wow.
See, I don't know. Look. Okay, this is the the document dropped, Jack Smith had that Trump campaign paid for the travel, hotels, expenses, and organizing efforts for the January 6th situation. I'm still looking, guys. I'm going to try to.
Well, I did want to say while you're looking,
Yeah, go ahead.
that people have always said that Donald Trump is Teflon, right?
Yes.
It's very difficult to embarrass him. It's almost like he doesn't have a conscience.
Yes.
But here's the thing. Whatever he did is embarrassing to him. And this is one of the reasons why he is trying so desperately to cover it up.
Mhm.
So I think whatever transpired on that island that he denies that he didn't go to, it's something that will definitely embarrass him in front of the American people.
Sure, and part of that record trove, if the Epstein Transparency Act is passed, we're going to be talking about travel logs, flight information, who was on the plane, what was the destination, So if he did go to the island, there was probably something buried in there someplace that would connect him to it.
Right, I agree.
And Pastor White, I'm going to say for you that I agree with you that it is something, but we just don't know what it is. My thing is, for Trump, it's always about money. So whatever it is, it's something that he will have to lose a lot of money over, which means that he probably is a partner with Epstein in doing a lot of this. He may have participated, but he's probably also a partner. And that's what he doesn't want to come out.
And Epstein said, look at the mortgage, look at his mortgage. So that tells you, you're right. There's money. He's embarrassed about that. Also, it's illegal. I mean, I don't know. It's a lot.
It is a lot. Let me go. I know I had that file in here for you guys. I was trying to find.
I wrote down some of them because I came across some information too. It's pretty awful.
I was introduced to him by the lady in Lord Rothschild. Wow. And I told
More fun watching Mary Rarick's reaction to these slides.
It's unbelievable.
You start to wonder why these rich a-holes even bother going to any of these
You're
parties.
right.
They're knowingly going to be photographed with somebody who's ultimately going to end up in some kind of hot water, but they all keep going.
I keep wondering. I mean, the question that keeps coming back to me is something I think James Tallarico asked, and maybe you've heard this. When did pedophilia become a partisan issue? When is this a partisan issue? This is a moral issue.
Right.
This
Exactly.
is an ethical issue. Where are Republicans? The hypocrisy is just shocking.
There are no Republicans anymore. It's MAGA and people who claim to be Republicans, and morals and ethics on that side of the aisle. I'm not saying my side of the aisle is clean, but they don't even address them. They've buried them under the carpet, and they've built a brand new ballroom over the top of them. You're not going to get any recognition of morals or ethics out of that party anymore. Sorry to say. I got a lot of people
Mary,
I love.
Mary, I hate to say this, that this is not new. It's always been, even in the church. I mean, you know, with the Catholic priests who sexually abused children in the church, it took them 30 plus years to finally bring some of them to account for their sins. This is nothing new. The thing is that until we become a society that cares about our children and humanity, and start to stand up and stop covering it up, and women have been enablers in this too.
Yes.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yes, and so until we become a society where we understand, we protect our children, we protect the vulnerable, but America is not that. You can see that what they did with SNAP during this whole shutdown. You can see that what they're doing to the ACA and Medicaid and Medicare. They don't care about. I mean, so it has become a country of the haves and have-nots, and the 10% and the 90%. And until we get that 10% out of here, we're never going to become the country that we hope we will become. And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but that should be the goal of everybody at this point.
It's hard to be anything else these days.
I mean, I don't really kill them off or anything like that. I'm not talking that kind of radical, but I mean, just, get them out of power. Trump what he has done was that he put billionaires in charge of services for people who have nothing, who depend on the federal government to protect them from state abuses and stuff like that. That was the one thing that Black people could count on, is that even if the state didn't give you your rights, the federal government will protect you and have a safety net, that they would go fight for your rights, fight with you for your rights. We don't have that anymore. The first thing they struck down was DEI, and everybody else should have seen that coming. They should have seen, well, if they're getting rid of DEI, they're coming for us next. And then they came for the Hispanics and the Latino community. And then they came and they took Americans along with it. We just snatched them up because they were brown or they looked like they were, whatever. Right. Then they came for white women and this and that. And I don't understand why people are not. I think we're starting to realize, we're starting to see that. But the whole point of this is that this is not new. None of this is new. We just turned a blind eye because we're too busy trying to. If I'm not getting mine, if I don't have my own house and my own whatever and my whatever, it's about me. I don't care about community. Now we have to care about community. If you don't have a community right now, you're not going to survive this.
Right.
And I'm getting off my stool now.
That part. When and you talk about when it doesn't affect us, if you I'm sure you notice a lot of white women did not get involved until Roe fell, right? Because then all of a sudden, whoa, hello, right? That part, they then understood. And too many of us, I include myself, because I look back and I see so many mistakes I've made. I mean, the patriarchy, white supremacy, all of that part, right? That is it. And white women have stood by and watched it happen, propped it up. I mean, if we could change that, if we could crack that nut, which might be happening now a little bit,
I hope so.
That's the good thing that happens out of this. I don't know.
Yeah, and guess who helped white women get their voting rights, but we didn't get ours at that time?
Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
We were.
Black women.
That's right.
So I'm going to say that all of us think alike, and all of us are, we're like a savant or something, that we have all the answers to everything. But for the most part, when Black women say something, because we're usually the canary in the coal mine.
That's right.
When we say something, pay attention. Start
That's right.
thinking about how that's going to affect you and trickle down to maybe, that you might be the next one on the totem pole. And that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying, like I said, we ain't got all the answers, but the 92% of us are tired right now. We sitting down, let y'all do the work.
That's right, as you should.
Right.
You deserve all the rest you can get, because we've been sitting back, being comfortable, right? Because we thought we could, right?
But
And
we'll be there to push y'all over the finish line. Don't worry. We'll be back out there. We just taking a break.
Now my job is to listen and pay attention, right? And learn. And when you say to do something, to step up and do it. That's what we're here for now.
There's more safety for you as a white person,
Oh yeah,
whatever, obviously, because
oh yeah.
I mean, the Supreme Court already told them that that you can pick people up if they look a certain way.
Right.
It didn't matter. I mean, defying all of our civil rights, and it's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Yep. As a white woman, but especially now as a 60-year-old white woman with gray hair, right? There's more privilege added on, right? When I was younger, I can definitely tell you, I did not have even as much. I had a lot of privilege, I'm not going to say I didn't, but now I feel like I can do so much more because, I'm not going to be, who's going to pick on me? No, that's why I have to speak up now.
Yeah. And I think you should watch the court very carefully if the Democrats sweep in the midterms and then the presidential election. You still got Clarence Thomas and Alito in there. But I think with Amy Coney Barrett, you've got a reasonable voice. And without Trump in office pushing and bullying, I know, but I'm still rooting for Amy Coney Barrett here.
I tried, but Amy worries me because she has Black children. She has adopted at least, how many Black children does she have?
I think it's 2, Pam.
She's got 2. And then she was part of that voice that said that you could pick up people and it didn't, by what they look like or whatever. And so
we're going to have a less Trumpian Supreme Court without Trump in the White House. I can tell you that. I think that the Supreme Court has got enough voices on there. And, let's all remember, the next president, the next election is going to probably pick 1 or 2 nominees to that Supreme Court.
Oh, you think so, really, Gary? I think what's going to happen is Thomas and Alito are going to retire before Trump gets out of office, so he gets to pick 2 more.
Now that makes sense, but you got to remember Ruth Bader Ginsburg. You got to remember the way these justices think. They're on that bench, so they decide they're not on that bench.
I don't think they're on the verge of death. Like, Ruth Bader Ginsburg had a lot of health issues. I know Clarence Thomas had some, but
I'm saying by virtue of not having those health issues, I don't know that they're going to be as easily pushed off the bench.
No, I think Clarence is going to want to get out. I think he's going to want to just
he should have been kicked out and impeached. Is what I'm going to tell you. What I want is for all the Democrats that are in the cut, sitting back, and hopefully they look like they're chilling, but they're not. I want them to have their answer to Project 2025 and a checklist of when we get back in power of all the things that they have to do, because we've got to reform the Supreme Court. We have to reform the presidency. We have to get rid of that presidential immunity. I don't care. That has to go. That has to go.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that that's the case. But I think strategically, how they're going to play this is that Thomas still retire before the end of Trump's term, whether he or, if it's JD, because Trump happens to catch a toe tag out of the White House. But it's going to be JD is going to pick somebody, and Alito and them are going to leave because they know coming in. I mean, there's no point in staying. They got all this stuff that they need. They done grifted as much as they can grift.
Listen, power. No one is ever satisfied with the amount of power that they have. I'm not saying your argument isn't valid, because it absolutely is. But I don't think I don't think Clarence Thomas says, okay, I've had enough. I'm going to just go off to the sidelines now and just sit until I die. I don't know that's the way they think. I could be wrong. And in regards to Amy Coney Barrett, what I want to stress here is that I am holding out hope. The reason I'm holding out hope is because she's very young. She's going to be there for a long time. I think that we could see her aligning with the Democratic minority on the court in certain cases down the road. And I also hold out hope for John Roberts. I don't know that I would consider either of these two people ethical, but I think they're a little bit more strategic than Kavanaugh, Alito, and Thomas, who have just been completely bought and sold.
I think, you might be right, but what I'm thinking, I'm playing chess here. So if I were them, I'd be
I'll play
thinking,
with you.
okay, so if 2026, the House is going to stop Trump from doing whatever he wants to do, I'm bouncing. I'm taking my retirement. I'm going to go live my good life, hang out with what's his name, who has all the billions of dollars. I'm going to go. And Trump can put in who he wants. I mean, I don't care at that point. I'm going to live my best life the rest of the time. That would be me. That I would bounce. But I would say this too. I think the election, the last election spooked them to the point that they decided, I'm not going to hear the same-sex marriage case. I don't want none of that, because they saw what is happening, that this country is swinging, and it's swinging hard, and not just in blue places and purple places, but in red places. We've had a lot of wins, and we just don't talk about it. When I say we, the people, I mean, we've had a lot of wins, and we just don't talk about it because, the big races get all the attention, like Zoran here in New York City and Virginia and, and New Jersey and stuff like that. But there have been a lot of red seats that haven't flipped in decades. Yeah. And so they see the writing on the wall. They know it's shifting. So they're treading lighter about their decision. I don't think they're going to give Trump the tariff. I think they're going to vote against it. That's my projection. That's just me, my humble opinion, that they're treading lightly now because they see which way the tide is turning. And so they don't want to have none of that.
MTG is telling them, she's trying to tell them, I don't trust her as far as I could pick her up and throw her, but she is being very strategic. I will give her that.
Yes.
I will give her that.
Yes.
Pastor White, what say you?
We just have to watch the grifters. We know who the grifters are,
That's
right? They're always going to swing in the direction where the momentum of power is shifting. And so we keep our eyes on them, and that'll tell us everything that we need to know.
Yes.
Clarence Thomas is not going into that night quietly. He is a grifter. He's one of the chief grifters, right? He's going to get all that he can while he's breathing.
He's got to keep feeding Ginny.
Take that off the table.
Wealth, I mean.
What'd you say, Gary?
I said he's got to keep feeding Jenny, but I meant feeding the wealth. The wealth.
Right.
The ego. That is honestly what I meant. Come on, folks. Come on, folks. Yeah. I happen to agree with the pastor. Just because this coincides with it. The episode that I did on the Jake Tapper show was the Anita Hill testimony for Clarence Thomas. So I'm very deeply knowledgeable just from virtue of the research on that episode on Clarence Thomas and Ginny Thomas. He strikes me as somebody who isn't there for any president. He's there for his own reputation. He's there for his own name. How many schools can be named after him? How many statues of him can there be? And if Trump is the key to that right now, so be it. Certainly, he's more, as I said, bought and paid for than some of the others. But I don't think that you can say that's the case about Amy Coney Barrett. And I don't think you can say that's the case about John Roberts. I think, as the pastor says, the grifters go with where the power is. So if the Democrats have the power, the grifters want to be in that company. Then we get more of what we want from the Supreme Court. And remember, the more blue votes we have in the Senate and the House, the fewer judicial confirmations they're going to get through. Supreme Court and all the way down the road, which is just as important. Yeah. So they better hurry up.
One thing that I really liked about
better hurry up.
One thing I really liked about what has kept us afloat until we can do better has been the judiciary. And it didn't matter if they were Trump appointed, Biden appointed, whatever. They actually followed the letter of the law and protected their sovereignty from the other branches or from the other avenues of government. And, so I don't really care about them picking federal judges and at that level, because they've all stood up for the land of law and democracy. So I'm going to give them that. But the Supreme Court is totally different. I give you that.
We need to expand the Supreme Court. We need whole Supreme Court reform. No more self-judging, yourselves. No more, none of that stuff. None of that. None of it. None of it at all.
Lots of term limits.
Yeah, absolutely. Term limits. No more lifetime appointments and all of that. Where did Pastor Ron go? Where did my twin go? What happened? Where did he go?
He's got some organizing to do. He's a busy man. He's
oh, here he is.
Full of excitement.
Here he is. Here he is. What happened?
I hit the wrong button. My bad.
Pastor, we forgive you.
Oh boy, I'm gonna try to find that daggone thing. That's bugging me because I went through all this business trying to find these things. You know what? I wonder, did I? Nope, that's not it.
While you're looking for that, let me ask: has anyone seen what's going on over on Truth Social?
I don't go on Truth Social.
I don't go on it. You mean
I don't go.
You mean
I don't
live
go on it.
social? You mean live social, don't you?
I'm not on it, but I saw some screen grabs of it, and basically, they're not very happy with him over there.
Here it is, guys. Here it is. Found
Okay.
it. Oops, wait a minute. Dang, I hit the wrong button. Hold on.
We're twins.
Yeah, we literally are. I hit the wrong button. Let me see.
So while you're trying to get it back, well, with live social, what we found out is that they have a
Here it is. Here it is.
Settlement. Maria Oliveira, 12 years old, her family was paid $16 million to settle allegations or forcibly intercourse occurring in Mar-a-Lago, Palm Beach, Florida in '93. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is insane. This is the American president. And it's like these kind of people should be in prison a long time ago and not allowed to settle any of these cases. I mean, this is criminal. This is not even like I don't know, some kind of misunderstanding in business. I mean, let me know what you think in the comments, share this. And if you want to support me, check out links in bio for Venmo, PayPal, since I got demonetized. If you want to support by ordering a hat like this, links are in the bio as well. See you in the next one. This will make you truly sick. Trump has paid out millions in settlements over sexual abuse accusations. This is just 5 cases I wanted to mention to you. You probably didn't know from the 90s. So who knows how many happened in the 2000s. But here's one. Michael Parker, a 10-year-old, Mar-a-Lago, Palm Beach in '92. Trump paid his parents $3 million in settlement. Callie Foyer, 12-year-old, $1 million settlement paid in '89. Allegations of forced intercourse in Trump Tower, New York City. Charles Bacon, 11 years old, $3 million, '94, Trump Tower, New York City. Rebecca Conway, 13 years old, claimed intercourse with Trump, Vineyard Estates, Charlottesville, VA, 2012, $5 million settlement. Maria Oliveira, 12 years old, her family was paid $16 million to settle allegations or forcibly intercourse occurring in Mar-a-Lago, Palm Beach, Florida in '93. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is insane. This is the American president. And it's like this.
Now that he had the source typed in his comment area, those were boys and girls.
Mm. I think that this underscores what I was saying earlier, which is that power and money will make it all go away. So I can just go ahead and do whatever I want. Am I even interested in doing this? No, but I can get away with it. So let's do it. Write a check, on I go.
And the last one, the oldest one they mentioned was 89. Those were 5. I didn't count them, but he said there was 5 cases that that he mentioned. But that one of those was in 89.
Well, you know what? He's gotten away with everything his entire life.
He sure has.
So he's not going to change now.
Well, look at what
He'll
Ronan
continue.
Farrow. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, look what Ronan Farrow uncovered, right? And how long
Oh,
that took with
yeah.
Catch and Kill with the Harvey
Yes.
Weinstein. He got away
Yes.
with so much. And some of the same catch and kill techniques were used. I mean, Trump has used the same things. Stormy Daniels talked about it, right?
Mhm.
Correct.
So think about it. If we know that one, guess what? How many others are there?
Mhm.
Well, New Yorkers tried to warn the rest of America that these men should not be
We
trusted.
didn't listen.
We said, I'm just going to tell you, don't deal with him. But people fell for it for whatever reason. And there's a lot of stuff behind why people voted for Trump. But I think a lot of it is because, dissatisfaction with people's plight in life that expected they should have been able to get more because of, the color of their skin or whatever. And they weren't, living the life that they were supposedly privileged to have. That's part of it. The other part is just, he was very macho. And men were feeling some kind of way. Males were feeling some kind of way about their, status in life, I guess, because women are doing a lot, or some women are.
Mhm.
And so it was a yarn, a ball of yarn that was basically going to eventually get so big that it was going to roll downhill and take out some people. So,
And there is the allure of no rules. I like that my leader doesn't play by rules. That means I can get away with more. I don't have to play by rules. If he doesn't have to do it, I don't have to do it. And and that's very appealing. That's very appealing to many people. It's sad, but it's true.
Yeah,
Who likes rules? None
like
of us like rules.
I'm a tough guy. They like that bravado, as if that's how life goes. I don't know.
Not for me. If I try to break the rules in my life, I'm going to be in a sad state very, very quickly.
Yeah.
well, and honestly, for us to be the kind of country with the money that we have, it is no reason for people to not be able to afford to live.
Right.
There's no excuse for that. That is happening, and it's gotten to the point now that that people are they don't know what else to do. They just feel like, well, he says he's going to do something, or this one says he's going to do something, but we still are living in this world too that some people don't trust women, although women are the problem solvers. We always seem to be, in a lot of cases, at home, whatever. And people don't want to listen to women, and because that might make them seem less of a man, or, I don't know what kind of issues they're going on. I know Trumpster has probably got a lot of issues going on with his sexuality, according to these new emails and stuff. So, I just think that I think we're coming to a cleanse at this point. I don't know that we're going to burn it all down, but I think Democrats, I'm including Democrats in this too, because I'm not voting for Schumer. I just want y'all to know I want him out.
Yeah.
But I think some of the Dem leadership is going to turn over. I think we need fresh blood. I don't necessarily mean we need 30-year-olds or 40-year-olds or 50-year-olds. I just think we need people who think outside the box. People are willing to take a chance. People are willing to fight for we the people and understand what this is all about. I don't care if you were a MAGA before and all of a sudden you realize that, ACA affects me. SNAP affects me. So I'm going to do something to get people in there that are going to have a safety net for me. And that's just
Can I ask a question, Renee? And for everyone, when you talk about new blood, this is a conversation that's really going on in many of my Democratic circles right now. And the question is, how new is new blood? For example, there was an article, I believe it was in the Times, it may have been the Hill today, that said, admit it, Gavin Newsom is the leader for the nomination. Is Gavin Newsom new blood? He certainly doesn't seem new blood to me, but it seems like what our party could potentially end up with as our next standard bearer.
Yeah, and I agree with you on that. I'm not for just getting rid of somebody because of their age.
No.
I'm not for getting rid of somebody just because they've been there for a minute, because we do still need the sage to help the youngsters to get to the part that they need to. I'm against people who can't change, who can't think outside the box, who can't get with the new program, who are still fighting about by the old rules when we don't have any rules any longer.
Right.
So
right.
that's what I'm against. And when I say new blood, meaning you have to think newly. We ain't playing by the same rules. We don't have gentlemen handshakes any longer. You know, you can't just shake somebody's hand and believe their word. You have to do better. You have to, you know, listen and verify, you know, and so you have to think newly. And it doesn't come with age necessarily. It doesn't come with just being young. It comes with the fact that you know how to go with the times, you know how to progress with the times and to deal with what's going on then. So that's when I say new blood. I don't mean new people. I don't mean young people. I don't mean this. I voted for Madami, and I was all for him. The day he knocked on my door, I was like, I'm voting for this young man. Period, point blank. That's it. I knew from then, from having conversation, that I was going to vote for him, not because he was young, but because he had the nerve to come knock on my door and talk to me. You know, you come talk to me and you want to address me and my issues, and I like what you're saying. I don't know if you can get it done, but I'm gonna give you a shot.
But the reason he was able to knock on so many of those doors was because he was young.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, I appreciate you on that one, but not necessarily. When I ran the campaign, I wasn't like hit him, but we could knock some doors down. I appreciate you, Barry.
Boy.
Like I see it.
I totally agree. We need new thought leaders.
Yes.
I had the awesome opportunity to vacation in Dubai this year, and they don't have any homeless people. There's nobody hungry in the country. Only 10% of the people that live in Dubai are citizens, 90% immigrants. Okay, nobody's hungry. And
Pastor White, what was the country? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Where was that?
Dubai.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. The businesses have an obligation to give 2.5% of their revenue back to the government to take care of the least of these. The government housing is better than anything I've ever lived in. So think about
okay,
that.
I know when this country folds, I'm going to Dubai.
Yeah, it would be a great place to live. I was listening to our mayor in the city of Detroit a couple months ago, and he was bragging about the 9 new building projects that we have in the city. You know how many they have in Dubai?
How many?
50,000.
Yeah.
And the buildings are amazing. I mean, you're talking about thought leaders. These are thought leaders. The transportation, the massive transportation system is light years ahead of anything that I've seen in our country.
Yeah, China, look at their systems and stuff. It's out of sight.
And here's the thing, the same thing can happen in this country.
Yeah, of course.
Our
That's White. That 10% who holds
our
the
biggest
majority
hurdle
of
is
money.
the permitting process. You got to go through 3 years of permitting process to put a doghouse in your backyard in this country.
The government there, they promote creativity with the architecture for the new buildings. They want to see, you know, buildings that they've never built before. It's amazing. The engineering, the design, the creativity is just something that took my breath away.
Wow.
Hey, Pastor White, can you tell me if Trumpster has any projects going on over there?
He does not. They laugh at him.
Yes.
They are laughing at Trump. They can't believe that after the first term that we actually gave this convicted felon another term in office.
I'm with Dubai.
They're like, what's wrong with you American people?
Yeah.
It's not us, it's Elon.
Right.
Yeah,
He won.
Right.
She won.
Right.
Yeah.
Elon, the trillionaire.
Yeah. Oh, God.
And I know that he had a lot to do with it, but I still talk to too many people that are supporting him with all that we know even today.
Yep.
Oh, no.
That's what blows me away.
Right.
I just had an employee that used to work for me at Stellantis post on Facebook today, and I had to get into him. He's like, well, you know, everybody wants to see Trump fail. They're already judging him, blah, blah, blah. No, it's not about that. I want Trump to succeed. Again, I have sons and daughter-in-laws and grandchildren. I need him to be successful, right? For the benefit of our country and the benefit of our families. And
Pastor White, did you ask that person how he feels about his grocery bills every time he go into the store?
He probably was going.
he is a man that ended up taking a buyout from Stellantis because he had so much debt that he had to take the buyout to keep the bill collectors off his back. And now he's working on roads. He went from the automotive industry where he had a good paying job with great benefits. He would have, if he would have stayed, he would have been getting paid over $40 an hour. But he made some very serious errors financially, and he had to take that quick money to take care of his debt. And now he's working on the roads. So think about that. And he's a Trump loyalist, and he's a Trump loyalist because his brother is a pastor, and he thinks that Donald Trump is a Christian. And again, this is what I was saying earlier. It's not just a matter of saying you're a Christian. What are you doing?
Right.
To demonstrate your Christianity.
Right. Right. That's
it's
right.
It's not sleeping with girls under 16 years of age. There's nothing Christian about that.
Yeah.
Or any kid.
Child. Yeah. Any child.
Any child.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, listen, guys, we are way past 9 o'clock.
Lively group.
Yeah. And I have enjoyed you all so much. This has been a great discussion. We had some laughter, we had some serious stuff, we had the whole mix, we had the whole thing. And I appreciate you all so much. Now, I know that my outro, I'm gonna have to probably play it twice. My daughter claims she fixed it, but it's not fixed. So anyways.
All right. Well, thank you, Pam. Nice to see you, Gary.
Thank you so much.
Gary, thank you, Renee.
Thank you.
Everyone.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Have a great week.